Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Pressing Matters. This is Pressing Matters episode number 6. I am your host, Daniel Torres, and I hope everyone's having a fantastic week so far. I hope you guys are enjoying what is the last week of October and, of course, our weekly content with all of our shows here at the Plug Talk Sports Network. But it's Thursday. And that means it's time for Pressing Matters and to talk about soccer. And today's episode actually is going to be about one game and one game only. And that was from this past Sunday. Yep, the biggest game in the world, the biggest rivalry in the world, El Clásico, Real Madrid against Barcelona. It was hosted at El Estadio Santiago Bernabéu in Madrid, Spain. And coming into this match, Real Madrid just one loss in league play to their crosstown rivals, Atletico de Madrid. They had just come off a good Champions League victory against Juventus. So did Barcelona, coming off a big victory in Champions League. Barcelona had not lost yet, but have drawn. And this right here is going to be a great match because we look back to last year and Kylian Mbappe's first year with Madrid, he was not able to beat Barcelona 4 times. It might be 5, but 4 times was not able to get the best of Barcelona. So it was not a first great year of Clásicos for the Frenchman. And he was very motivated. He was very motivated to come into this Clásico and to deliver a result and get his first victory in the books in the rivalry. But he was definitely not short of goals last year in a Clásico. He scored against Barcelona so many times. But he also had trouble of staying on sides. We know Hansi Flick in Barcelona likes to play that high line and to trap Mbappe or even Vinicius from going behind the line and getting through. Before we get to this game, we must address Lamine Yamal. I love Lamine Yamal when he's playing for Spain because I do think he is a great player. But I think as an 18-year-old and being so young and being shown to this level of fame and media attention that he has gotten early on in his career and being compared to Messi. He's now wearing the number 10 for Barcelona. It's kind of gone a little bit to his head, I will say, in my opinion. We see all the things going on with him, with women, off the field stuff. Not really acting like a role model. I think this looks like a young kid who's being exposed to all this stuff for the first time. And he's like, wow, I want to try all this. And so he was part of the Kings League. And in an interview, he happens to say that Real Madrid lies, robs, cheats. And he also says that he thinks scoring in the Santiago Bernabéu is easy because he's done it before. That's not an intimidating stadium for him. That Barcelona, which while it is true, they did go in there last year and win 4-0, he believes it's not an intimidating place. And well, the comments were not very well received, as you can imagine, by the Real Madrid fans, of course, the Real Madrid faithful, and of course, the players themselves. Dani Carvajal did say, he did not start in the match, but did say, when the match is over, I'm going to confront Lamine Yamal about his comments. He was the only player to do so. Xabi Alonso asked the day before the game on what he thought about the comments and said he didn't have an opinion and they're just focused on the game tomorrow. We get to the match. First of all, there's about 3 goals called back for Real Madrid due to VAR. Let's go over the first one. Vinicius is in the box. He goes to shoot. He's in the shooting motion. And I believe it was Pedri. I want to say it was Pedri. Pedri puts his foot in the way. Actually, sorry, it was Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal puts his foot in the way, and Vinicius absolutely kicks the crap out of Lamine Yamal. It was immediately called penalty. Barcelona is going crazy. They think this is absurd. Bernabeu is serenading Lamine Yamal. Vinicius is happy at this moment. Mbappe is lining up to take this penalty. Then we get the VAR signal. They go look at it. And when they go look at it, the angle that VAR gives the referee was absolute garbage. They give an angle from behind where you can't really see Lamine's foot, whether it got contact with the ball or whether he put it in the way and Vinicius kicks him. You can't see. From the side angle that they gave on the broadcast, you easily see Vinicius is in full range motion of about to shoot. It's in full shooting motion. And last second, Lamine Yamal puts his foot in the way. Vinicius kicks him. Obvious penalty. I don't know how it is that we got so many cameras nowadays and technology, and the broadcast probably showed the best angle there was of this play, yet somehow, some way, VAR gave the referee probably the worst angle to look at. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy. I'm just saying I find that quite strange. I think it's weird. Check is complete. No penalty. All right. Miley's not getting a penalty. That's fine. We go on. Game goes on. It's not really ill tension at the moment. Tension's fine. Game's just being played. Yes, there was talks and mentions that, Barcelona was missing Rafinha. There was no Lewandowski. Obviously, Szczesny was their keeper because Joan Garcia was injured, which, by the way, Ter Stegen, I don't know what's up with if he's still injured or what's the deal with Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. But to be honest, I think Marc-Andre Ter Stegen is one of the best keepers in the world, and I think Barcelona would be really foolish to let him go. Obviously, he battles for Germany's number one spot with Manuel Neuer, even though I do feel like it's slowly becoming Ter Stegen's spot to be that number one for the national team of Germany. He's still a very solid keeper. He's in his prime right now, and I think it's really, really foolish for Barcelona to let him go and want to stay with Joan Garcia or Szczesny. I think Szczesny's a good keeper, which he's going to be the backup to Joan Garcia, but you're going to pick those two guys over Marc-Andre Ter Stegen? It's pretty stupid. So Szczesny's in goal. There is a rebound. I forgot which two players were involved. Bounces over to Mbappe. He strikes it way beyond the 18-yard box on a volley. It goes in. It's a phenomenal goal. There we go. It's 1-0 Real Madrid. Here we go again. VAR. Gonna go look at it. They look at another terrible angle. I really do not know VAR in this match. What angles they're looking at. Comes back. No goal. Goal's taken away. This one I will say, I looked at it closely. If it rebounds off of the Barcelona player last, there's no offsides. If it hits the Madrid player, offside counts. But I looked at it very closely, and it came off the Barca player. So it should have counted, taken away, game continues, still 0-0. Through ball to Mbappe, he scores, but immediately offsides. That's number 3. Finally, a beautiful ball played by Jude Bellingham in the midfield through perfectly timed run through that back line, ruining the high press and the high line of Barcelona, finding Mbappe, and then it's one-on-one between Mbappe and Szczesny. And when you're right in front of goal and you're Mbappe, that's a player, he doesn't miss much when you're one-on-one, and he doesn't. And he scores. Real Madrid open the scoring. It's 1-0 in a Clásico. We move on. Game continues. We start to see that Barcelona starts to pick up the pace a little bit. They start to get more involved in this game. Lamine Yamal, as we'll get into it later, 0 shots on goal, 0 goals, 0 assists, and was dispossessed 21 times. He was a non-factor in this match. We saw what happened when Spain played in the UEFA Nations League final against Portugal, and he opened his mouth before that game, and he was shut down by Portugal, by Nuno Mendes, even Cristiano Ronaldo getting in the action and taking the ball away from Lamine Yamal. So this is just another occasion where Lamine opened his mouth as an 18-year-old boy and was served some revenge and was not able to do absolutely anything in the game. People said later on, the coach, because Hansi Flick, here's another thing. Hansi Flick received a red card again, I believe it was against Getafe the week prior. So he was serving the suspension for a Clásico, which also Barcelona fans say, oh, we didn't have Hansi Flick coaching. Which, by the way, a little dig here to Inter Miami. We didn't see Hansi Flick sitting first row in the Bernabeu with his cell phone on, calling the Barcelona bench. No, that man was somewhere up there in the suites in Bernabeu, and he was watching. He was just watching. They showed him he was just watching the game. You also didn't see him on the cell phone calling down to the bench to give instructions. No, it doesn't happen in La Liga. It's not like MLS. But anyways, anywho, 1-0. Lamine Yamal can't do anything. He's shut out of this game. The coach that was coaching for Barcelona, the assistant, I forget his name, but he says that he feels like the pressure and the atmosphere of the Bernabeu got to Lamine Yamal. And funny, the guy has said that he doesn't think it's intimidating. He said it was too much for him to handle. It sure looked like it because he was nowhere to be found in this match. They shut him down. Álvaro Carreras, who people joke around that is the second coming of Lucas Vázquez, they did a great job with him. He shut him down. Could not get back past Carreras. Had a hard time facing Carreras. Did a phenomenal job back there. And he couldn't get going. And obviously he's Barcelona's most dangerous player. And if he can't get going. But anyways, again, Barcelona's picking things up outside from Lamine Yamal. It is a bad mess up from Arda Güler giving the ball away, allowing Barcelona to run through the midfield and right there, the 18-yard box. And they equalize this 1-1. And I'm like, oh, boy, here we go. Clásico never fails to deliver. Right after, I believe, a couple minutes after, Vinicius, who was in the mood, he felt like he just, you know when Vinicius is in the mood. When you look at him, he's like, this guy wants to score today. This guy wants to play today. Was able to get to the edge of the 18-yard box. Ball's about to run out of play. Shoots a ball. It was like a little lob. Over. There's a header from Eder Militao back into the box. Goes over the head of Dean Housen. There's no foul there. I believe it was Pau Kuadsi who he was going up to challenge with. There was no foul there. They checked that, of course. And then wide open as the ball went over Housen's head. Wide open, waiting, was Jude Bellingham for the little tap-in past the diving Szczesny. And, of course, You hit the celebration. He stares at the Bernabeu crowd, hits the celebration. Madrid is back up 2-1. Halftime goes. Second half, you can tell Barcelona is picking things up again. But their problem was, in the midfield, they can move the ball well. Out of the back, they can move the ball well. But when it got to that final third and making things happen in that final third, Real Madrid was great defensively. And that's something last year that was very tough for them to do. Very tough defensively last year. And with a lot of injuries last year. Dani Carvajal gets subbed into the game. Eder Militao did a great job. Alvaro Carreras did a great job. And he was one player that I was very concerned about. He was coming back from injury. And I was like, when I saw the starting line, I'm like, Xabi, why? Why are we putting Alvaro Carreras in the starting lineup when he's just coming back from injury? Why? We saw what happened when he got his first touch of the field that Derbi Madrileño and Atletico absolutely cooked him. And it looked like the intensity and the rivalry and the match was too much for him and he didn't know what to do. I was like, if that was Atleti, imagine what's going to happen when he plays Barcelona. I was very concerned about that, but you know what? He stepped up to the plate. He said, I'm going to do my job. I'm going to be an anchor back here in defense. And he was. And he shut down their best player. So credit where credit's due to Alvaro Carreras. He proved himself. He proved that he could do it, that he would not be a liability like he was against Atleti. So I'm going to expect that next time they play Atleti, I'm going to expect Alvaro Carreras to be on his A game. Carvajal goes in. It's getting a little bit more chippy. Here's where things got very interesting. Mbappe gets subbed out. Bellingham gets subbed out. Brahim goes in. Gonzalo Garcia goes in. And here we are. Xabi Alonso decides to sub Vinny out and put in Rodrigo. Now, Vinicius had a good match. He didn't score, but he had an assist, technically. He set up that second goal, should I say. And he was dribbling well. He was creating plays. Xabi Alonso decides to sub him. Wants to give Rodrigo some minutes. First, how do I feel about that? I would have loved to see Vinny stay in the game. I felt like he deserved it. I felt like he was playing well. And is finally seeing a little bit of old Vinny back, right? And when I say old Vinny, not from last year, but from 2 years ago, when he should have won the Ballon d'Or. I would have kept him in. I thought that he deserved it with the way that he played. Obviously, Xabi Alonso had different ideas and wanted to get Rodrigo in the game. So, as the sub occurs, Vinny looks and he's in disbelief. He cannot believe it. And he starts going irate that he is being subbed out. The entire way from the field to the bench, the sideline, he is having a tantrum. And the words are later described as him saying, I'm out of here. I'm done. Me? You going to sub me? I'm out of here. I'm done. I should look for another team. I got to leave the team. Xabi Alonso, in the middle of this, has no interest with whatever Vinny is saying or doing. And he goes straight to the locker room. About 5 minutes later, Vinny returns to the bench, and he's sitting on the bench, and he's calm. Later, we know that this week, pretty much yesterday, Vinny apologized to his teammates and put out a statement for Real Madrid players and fans. We'll grab that statement for you here as I am pulling it up. He said, End quote. This is from Vinicius Jr. Today, I want to apologize to all the Madridistas for my reaction when I was substituted in the Clásico. Just as I've already done in person during today's training, I also want to apologize again to my teammates, the club, and the president. Sometimes passion gets the better of me because I always want to win and help my team. My competitive character stems from the love I feel for this club and everything it represents. I promise to keep fighting every second for the good of Real Madrid, as I have done since the first day. End quote. I believe it. I accept the apology from Vinicius Jr. I believe it. There's been a lot of speculation for the last 2 years. Oh, Vinny's leaving Madrid. Vinny's going to Saudi Arabia. Vinny's going to take the money. Vinny's going to pull a Neymar. No, I think that Vinny bleeds white. I think that he loves Real Madrid. He wants to stay in Real Madrid. Obviously, contract negotiations are another thing that's handled privately. And, of course, Vinny's going to want to ask for what he deserves. We all know how contract negotiations go, especially with Florentino Perez. We saw years there of clash of contract negotiations between him and Cristiano. And imagine that's Cristiano Ronaldo. I think the Madrid fan base loves Vinicius Jr. and adores Vinicius Jr. The way that he handled being subbed, do I think it was correct? No. Yes, I believe that he should have been frustrated that he was being subbed out because I think he played a good match. Yeah, you could be frustrated, but not the tantrum that he gave and the words that he said, especially it's the Clásicos. The world's watching. It's the world's biggest game, world's biggest rivalry. You know the camera is going to pick that up. You know what's going to happen. So, Xabi Alonso was asked about it after the game, said that he didn't have any thoughts and he was going to talk to Vinicius privately about this matter. We saw in Valdebebas training center, Real Madrid, that moments were captured through camera that Xabi and Vinicius were alone and were talking, so maybe the talk happened there. I don't think it's anything so big to speculate. He apologized. He did the right thing. Apologized to his teammates. His teammates came out and said he's a great teammate. We believe in him. We accept his apology. There's nothing more to that. The match ends. Real Madrid picks up the victory 2-1. And this is where it gets good. Dani Carvajal, as promised, goes up to Lamine Yamal and says, "You talk too much." That prompts Lamine Yamal to go back at Carvajal, start chirping, and here comes Thibaut Courtois, running all the way from his goal to get in the face of Lamine Yamal. Then from there, everybody wants a piece of Lamine Yamal for what he said. Even André Lunin, backup keeper, who received a red card, didn't play, but received a red card. Obviously, Real Madrid is going to appeal. Lunin's going to appeal to La Liga. Receives a red card in the scuffle. Then Lamine Yamal gets into it with Vinicius. And this is, I know, that man bleeds white for Real Madrid. After what just happened, the tantrum he had getting subbed out, that man is defending Real Madrid and its crest, its badge, the fans, the city. He's going at it with Lamine Yamal. And Lamine Yamal is gesturing, "Let's go. You want to go? Let's go to the tunnel. Let's go." Oh, Vinicius charged at him. And he had to be held back. Vinicius was ready. And what's funny is that as Vinicius is doing that, Rafinha, who's not even playing, is out there in his street clothes, gets in front of Vinicius, who's his teammate on the Brazilian national team. My guy, you weren't even playing. What are you doing? You just lost. What are you doing? Obviously, the Barcelona players are going to defend Lamine Yamal and say a whole bunch of crap. They defend the stupid comments. One comment, that an 18-year-old boy would say, and as expected from an 18-year-old boy. Frenkie de Jong, after the match, was like, oh, Lamine Yamal never said that. He never said Madrid robs. And then said, I don't think what Carvajal did was correct. You know, they're both on the Spanish national team. If he had an issue for what Lamine said, could have called him privately. Buddy. Why didn't Lamine say those comments privately? If Lamine Yamal goes and says all that trash publicly, I think it's fair game. It's open season. Real Madrid players can say whatever they want to retaliate and to respond to what Lamine Yamal says. They're right. Why does that have to be different? How come Lamine can go in public and say that, but no, Real Madrid players, call him privately. Talk to him privately. Don't make it public. Give me a break. Give me a break. Just ways for Barcelona players to make excuses for what Lamine Yamal said, you know, and no one took accountability of it. I don't know, privately, obviously, in the locker room or through leadership of the club. I think someone should have told him and sat him down, if not Hansi Flick, but somebody, a veteran teammate, and tell him, you need to shut your mouth because you're going to get us in trouble. We can't go into big matches, you running your mouth, and if we lose badly, it looks worse on us. Don't spit high because sometimes the spit will fall right back in your face. Be humble. Come into the games, win, do your job, and celebrate humbly. He did not do that. Couldn't celebrate because they lost. On top of that, he disappeared, didn't do anything in the game. And then wants to fight Thibaut Courtois, Dani Carvajal, which both guys who I think would absolutely destroy Lamine Yamal in a fight. I think Vinny would beat him in a fight too. But it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I think, again, Hansi Flick or one of his veteran teammates needs to pull that young man to the side and say, hey, don't go down this route. Don't put us in that position. Do better. And start molding that man to be a leader. That's my opinion. Obviously, Barcelona's excuses were we were missing players. But at the end of the day, Real Madrid wins 2-1. They take the first Clásico of the season. They are now 5 points ahead in first on top of the table of La Liga. And Barcelona in second. Only 2 points up on the third place team. 2 points. So they need to be careful. They need to get back into form next weekend. This weekend, should I say. And start winning games. Which I think they will. It's Barcelona. It's not sure, obviously, average Joe. It's not like we're talking about some low-tier team here. But yes, a Clásico was delivered. It was enjoyed, not by Barcelona fans, but by Madrid fans. It was enjoyed. And finally, the streak is over from last year. Xabi Alonso, first Clásico, is a victory. Mbappe finally scores again, by the way, and finally on top of Barcelona in a Clásico. And it's time for your team of the week. Your team of the week, and for the first time ever on this show, I believe, is Real Madrid. A lot of doubts. People saying they're not going to do it. Barcelona has the better team. They dominated Real Madrid all of last year. It's the same team. They're going to do it despite having injuries. They don't think Madrid is that good. Their defense is not that good. Yeah, you got Mbappe. He can score. But, if you can't do it defensively, it's not going to work. They proved all the haters and the doubters wrong. Despite a missed penalty from Mbappe, he's able to score, was the one that opened the scoring in this game. This extends their lead to 5 in the table, as I said. And there's going to be other Clásicos. There's going to be, obviously, the regular season one at Barcelona. I'm sure there'll be one maybe in the Copa del Rey or even in the Spanish Super Cup. We'll have to wait and see for that. But Real Madrid impressed. Xabi Alonso has a great start to the season despite the one loss to Atletico. Is the only loss that they have suffered through all competitions between La Liga and Champions League. So Xabi Alonso is off to a great start in his first campaign as head coach of Real Madrid. And of course, they'll love you even more when you're able to defeat the eternal rival Barcelona. He's been part of the Clásico himself, so he knows. And for that, that is why Real Madrid is your team of the week. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. This was episode 6 of Pressing Matters. Don't forget, right here, as I take myself out of the way, or I'll just show you guys or tell you guys about it. All of our shows, obviously Monday we had our Plug Talk Sports live show. Tuesday with Brandon, he was with Sideline, anything NFL. Wednesday, last night, he had a great episode. Courtside, Jonka joined that one, all about basketball and, of course, the Miami Heat. Today, Thursday, Pressing Matters. Tomorrow, Plug Picks with Jonka. Saturday, the 5th round with Isaac. And, of course, Sunday, one-timers for everything hockey-related with Blake. So, again, we hope you guys are enjoying all of our different shows, different sports throughout the week, and enjoying the Plug Talk Sports Network. We'll see you guys next week for a brand new episode of Pressing Matters. Pressing Matters episode 7, first week of November. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Halloween, and we'll see you.